Okay, yesterday we started the name of Psukkah de Zimra, which begins from Baruch Sha'amar. Now, Baruch Sha'amar, as we learned Shabbos, we're learning about Tefillah. That Baruch Sha'amar, the Tefillah Baruch Sha'amar, it was a letter that fell down from heaven in the days of the Anshe Knesset Hagdela, whatever that means. And on it was written as Baruch Sha'amar. So therefore, Baruch Sha'amar has a lot of significance to it. And as far as Kedusha, that's why the custom is you stand when you say Baruch Sha'amar, even hold your two front tzitzis when you say Baruch Sha'amar, because it's a very important tefillah that came from the time of the Anshe Knesset Hagdela. Now, that was used. Now, Baruch Sha'amar is the beginning of Psukkah de Zimra. Now, the beginning of Baruch Sha'amar, does say Baruch Sha'amar Baruch until Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, that's not the beginning of Baruch Sha'amar yet. It's like the sixth line. Once you say Baruch Atah Hashem, then you begin the actual Psukkah de Zimra. What does it mean as far as actual Psukkah de Zimra? Once you say that, you're not allowed to talk until after the Shmoneh Esrei, until after the Amidah. It's forbidden to talk. Not only that, because you're forbidden to talk, you're not allowed to say Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemai. You're not allowed to answer even a lot of things because, no, not many things, but you can't say certain things because it's a holy part of davening, and you're not allowed to talk. So what are you allowed to say in the middle of Psukkah de Zimra, even in the middle of Baruch Sha'amar for that bracha? You could say Amen and all brachas. You could say complete Kedusha, Baruch Hu. You can answer all the Amens and Kaddish that you'd be allowed to do during the Psukkah de Zimra. Huh? No, you could Psukkah de Zimra. Okay, but they have Kaddish, whole Kaddish. It's questionable exactly what that story is there. Okay, now. Afterwards, so it says like this: you hold the two tzitzis, you say it's standing. You hold the two tzitzis in your right hand. By the way, by Shema, you hold the tzitzis in the left hand. By Baruch Sha'amar, if you're right-handed, you hold the tzitzis in your right hand. If you're left-handed, you hold the tzitzis in your left hand. But Baruch Sha'amar, you hold the tzitzis, and then you finish the bracha Melech Mehulo Batish Brachos. You kiss the tzitzis. That Mizmah L'Seidah, the next part, the next paragraph over there is also said standing. Shabbos we learned the meaning of the tefillahs. Now we're learning just halachos. That Mizmah L'Seidah you have to stand, and it's supposed to be said b'simcha. Why should Mizmah L'Seidah also be said b'simcha? So halachos says Mizmah L'Seidah, like we discussed when we were learning the tefillah, where is instead of the carbon taida. There was a Thanksgiving sacrifice that people, 4 types of people brought if special occurrences happened to them. If they were sick in bed for 3 days and got healed, they traveled the ocean, they traveled the desert, they were in prison and they got out. All these types of people in the time of the Beis HaMikdash had to bring a carbon taida, Thanksgiving offering to Hashem. That included chametz breads and the animals, all the various different things that it included. Now, on Shabbos and Yom Tif, you cannot bring a private sacrifice. You can only bring communal sacrifices on Shabbos. If somebody wanted to donate an animal to the Beis HaMikdash, or for that matter, if somebody did a sin, you have to bring a sin offering, because it's a private korban, you're not allowed to bring it on Shabbos. So therefore, the carbon taida was not brought on Shabbos. If the carbon taida was not brought on Shabbos, we don't say Mizmah L'Seidah. Now, the reason why we say Mizmah L'Seidah is actually Thanksgiving instead of the carbon. It's the parakon kuf of Tilim. We say, thank you Hashem that I'm alive and I'm functioning and I'm, not the opposites or whatever it is. I'm functioning, I'm alive, so we say Mizmah L'Seidah. But because it's in the place of the carbon taida, because you don't bring a carbon taida on Shabbos or Yom Tif, we don't say Mizmah L'Seidah. We also discuss you don't bring a carbon taida on Pesach because the bread were chametz and you can't bring. So starting from Erev Pesach for the duration of Pesach, we also don't say Mizmah L'Seidah. Okay, next. The most important, there's different levels of importance of prayers. But Ashrei is the most important tefillah beside Baruch Sha'amar and Yishtabach. Baruch Sha'amar and Yishtabach, Ashrei is the most important tefillah that somebody says from Psukkah de Zimra. So if somebody, not in the Chabad custom, but if somebody comes late to shul, they try to skip davening to try to daven with a minyan. According to Kabbalah, you don't do this because then you're switching worlds around. So in Kabbalah, it says you come on time to shul. But if you don't come on time to shul, you still daven in the order of the davening because you don't change the order of the worlds, which is actually what Kabbalah is all about. But according to halacha, technically, but again, tefillah b'tzibur, davening with a minyan, by definition means davening the quiet Shmoneh Esrei with the minyan. Now, what happens if somebody davens their quiet Shmoneh Esrei when the chazan is repeating the Amidah? The chazan is repeating the Shmoneh Esrei. Is that called tefillah b'tzibur or not? There's a big machlekes in Pasuk. A lot of Pasuk hold it's not. Some Pasuk say it is. But one thing is for sure, it's better to daven tefillah b'tzibur. In other words, like this, davening with a minyan, according to halacha, doesn't mean being in shul when the minyan's davening. Tefillah b'tzibur, that we spoke about the importance of davening with a minyan, and Rabbi Elazar freed a slave, and Hashem never despises the prayer of an individual. Tefillah b'tzibur means davening Shmoneh Esrei with the minyan. That's when you have the greatness of tefillah b'tzibur. According to halacha, if you're walking even after Baruch Shama, you say Hallel with the minyan. Doesn't matter. There were chassidim that used to daven very long, Shabbos and Yom Tif, but when there was Hallel, including the Rebbe Rashab, by the way, and when there was Hallel, they daven with the minyan to say Hallel with the minyan. It's very important to say Hallel with the minyan. So then the shaila comes, if you came late, the minyan's in Hallel, in your middle of davening, should you say Hallel with the minyan or do it afterwards? So it's the whole, according to halacha, you say Hallel with the minyan. In Psukkah de Zimra for sure. Okay, so that's Psukkah de Zimra, then you have Vayevar of David.
And you don't say it again by yourself.
Huh?
And you don't say it again by yourself.
No, you don't say it again by yourself. You say it with the minyan, the way you're supposed to. No, it's brought down, the chassidim that used to daven very long, Shabbos, it's brought down even the Rebbe Rashab. They used to daven very long Shabbos and Yom Tif, but in Yom Tif not, because they wanted to say Hallel with the minyan. So they would daven Shmoneh with the minyan to be able to say Hallel with the minyan.
What about the worlds in the Seder?
The what? The worlds in the Seder, if you come late to shul anyway, it's all messed up. What's the difference? The minyan is davening this and you're davening this, it's all messed up anyway. So what's the difference? And by the way, in order to mess up the worlds, first you do halacha. Then after halacha, you want to do Kabbalah, then you have an inyan of mixing up the worlds. But instead of doing halacha, you just don't mix up the worlds and go against halacha, so that has no basis, not in halacha, not in Kabbalah. Has no basis, not in halacha, not in Kabbalah. The first thing is, you do halacha, then in addition to halacha, you do Kabbalah. But not instead of halacha when you don't keep halacha. Okay, anyway, next.
Coming late, you're not going to escape them.
You don't come late.
I don't know why he's worried. He's never late. And he's worried.
You were talking about Ashrei. How important is Ashrei?
No, we just said Ashrei is very important. So let's say somebody is coming late and they're planning to skip parts of davening. To be able to daven Shmoneh Esrei Dominion, so then you say Baruch Shamar, Ashrei Yishtabach, and then you catch up to the minyan. But I say in the Chassidish circles, they don't do it based on poskim that hold you have to daven in the proper order. But by the way, it's another interesting thing. Even those people that skip to be able to daven with the minyan, they have to say what they skipped after davening. It's not that you skip it and goodbye. You're off the hook. What you skipped in davening, you have to say it after davening. You just didn't say you wanted to daven before. Okay. In fact, even the Mishnah Berurah brings down that it's better to skip Baruch Shama and Yishtabach. It's better not to daven with the minyan rather than to skip Baruch Shama and Yishtabach and say it later. Because Baruch Shem Yishtabach was instituted to say when they were supposed to be said. So it's better to daven b'yechidus than... okay, there's also another interesting shaila. It doesn't bring it down here, no. But there's another interesting shaila also. What happens if a minyan is davening not in the correct time? Let's say a minyan is davening Ma'ariv early. No, a little bit early. Is it better to daven with the minyan early or daven later by yourself in the proper time? Or again, if a minyan is davening too early in the morning, let's say. So halachically you're allowed to daven there, but it's better to daven later. Is it better to daven with the minyan or to daven by yechidus? There's a big machlekes in halach that some chassadik holds that you could daven ma'ariv by yechidus by yourself. If the minyan is davening too early, you're allowed to daven ma'ariv in the zman instead of davening b'tzibur. Other poskim say you should daven b'tzibur. The various different opinions.
Even Friday night?
Huh?
Even Friday night?
Even Friday night.
Go to an early minyan?
No, if they have to go to early minyan, you have to daven Krishma later.
So that can be any day?
Huh?
So that can be any day?
Technically, yeah, but usually they do it Friday. I mean, during the summer, they usually do it Friday night.
The longest Sephardi does that.
They daven early.
And then they say the Shema later.
I understand, but some people are of the opinion it's better to daven privately later without the minyan than to daven early with the minyan. So there's different opinions in halacha.
What did the Rebbe do? Will we follow them?
Well, the Rebbe didn't daven early.
It's always on time.
B'chlal, I don't want to get into it now, but the whole early minyan concept of Friday night is not 100% correct according to Kabbalah. Because according to Kabbalah, you have to daven mincha time, Ma'ariv in its time. Davening Ma'ariv early, halachically, you could do it. But in Kabbalah, it's brought down that you don't do those things. Unless it's time of need, whatever it is. But then you could do it. But as a rule, people generally don't like to, according to Kabbalah, to daven earlier before the Zman or whatever it is.
How much earlier can you do actually?
Do what?
Like
Shachris and Ma'ariv.
No, like an hour and a half?
No, you could daven Ma'ariv from Plaga Mincha, which is an hour and a quarter of halachic hours before sundown. But that's only if you davened Mincha before that time.
An hour and 15 minutes earlier.
Hour and a quarter of halachic hours, not an hour and 15 minutes.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that exactly?
If a day is from, it starts sunrise to sundown, yeah? Yes? So let's say the day starts at 6 and ends at 4. Yeah? It's a 10-hour day, correct?
Right.
So that's 600 minutes. You divide 600 minutes by 12, that's how long a halachic hour is. If a day is from 6 to 8, so it's a 14-hour day, correct? So then 18 times 60 divided by 12 would be a 70-minute hour. But you have always the in-betweens. It's not 601 to the, you know. So they already have charts today on that you can get it on the Zmanim, and you can get all these exact time, what time Plaga Mincha is, and, you know. But during the winter, Plaga Mincha is not an hour and a quarter, because during the winter, every hour is like 50 minutes. So it's an hour and a quarter, 50 minutes. So it's like an hour and 12 minutes. 50 minutes plus 12 minutes. So it's going to be an hour and 2 minutes would be Plaga Mincha. In the summer, Plaga Mincha could be an hour and a half. Depending how you just, the sunrise and sundown.